Will they come out here in the second half and pressure and try to get turnovers for easy baskets on the other end?
Terry Keating, a disciple of P.J. Carlson when he worked for P.J. as a student assistant at Seton Hall, really emphasizing defense, and then had a great career as an assistant at UCLA under Ben Howland, going to 3 Final Fours.
He is the only head coach in the NCAA, as far as I know, to play in all 4 postseason tournament championships. I'm sorry, coach in all 4. NCAA, NIT, CBI, CIT.
And a little foul there on Pugh. He also claims to be the only coach in all of America who is part of the current Duke and North Carolina coaching trees.
Oh, how about those for a rivalry?
Coach for Tommy Amaker when Tommy was at Seton Hall. Tommy's now doing a great job at Harvard.
Santa Clara, I think, is throwing some trickery out there because a lot of times they're 2-3 zone on out-of-bounds plays. It appears they might be 2-3 zone a lot of the time, but then they go into a man-to-man.
Saw some muscle there from Thompson. He really snowplowed his way into the paint.
Yeah, he can do that. He is strong, and he's able to get to the basket if he uses his frame properly. Nice curl cut by Clark.
And Clark watches Agihi grab the rebounds.
Struggling to put the ball in the hole. I mean, he's 15 points a game. They have to get him going.
Wallace. And the rebound there by Thompson.
Look at that up and under move. Shot fake one way, use your pivot foot, go to the other side and try to finish. I would have liked to have seen Thompson try to catch some body from the defender on the way up. Looks like he kind of faded away from it. But that's what you have to do to be a big man scorer. He can score down inside. He just sometimes has to be a bit more physical.
Agihi getting called for that foul on the rebound. Second on the big guy.
All that screening action for Brownridge. He has the basketball now. But you're throwing the ball inside to Pugh, who's naturally a 3-man, having to play inside the paint.
Big rebound there for Agihi. Santa Clara got off to a very cold start in the first 5-6 minutes. Got back into it thanks to their defense.
Here comes the double team. Agihi, they've made it very clear when he touches it down inside, they're going to double team from here on out.
Tough to double team against that.
Well, Agihi gets the offensive rebound. He uses the shot fake to get his defender in the air. Tried to reverse it. I wonder if he had just gone straight up here. Shot fake, I don't know why he went for the reverse when the whole right side of the backboard is open. But sometimes you have guys who make plays that obviously they have a different feel for the game. They're actually out there playing.
Agihi is not a great free throw shooter. That'll make a coach see their hair turn gray.
And he's shooting 52% from the free throw line. And he's a guy that's capable of getting there a lot. And has a lot of great skills. I mean, he is a skilled physical player. Just doesn't finish a lot of times from the foul stripe, but he is 53% from the field.
Johnson streaks past Thompson for the score.
Santa Clara basketball. Drive the ball, gather defenders. If you stop from penetrating the basket, kick it out for a three-point shot. Not a whole lot of back to the basket post play normally with Santa Clara.
Both of these teams in rebuilding years, a lot of young talent. And Agihi, the senior, finishing there.
Well, Wallace just put the ball on a silver platter. Put the ball right where Agihi can be successful.
Clark's been trying to get his game going.
See, the half-court offense for Santa Clara right now is just not clicking. I mean, they have 9 freshmen and sophomores. It's a very young group. Next year, they'll have 10 freshmen and sophomores with the 4 recruits that they're bringing in. But they'll play a different style because they'll have more depth.
Cheering section counting it down for Clark.
It's good for Clark. He needed to get on the board, get a little confidence underneath him. He could have a good second half. I think sometimes you just have to see that ball going in the hole one time, and you feel good.
He's now 2 of 5 from the floor with 4 points. And Bowles with the finish.
Freshman.
By the way, I got to get a little shout out here. The first game I ever had a microphone in front of my mouth, a basketball game, his dad played.
Let's see if Agihi can make it a three-point play. Here's just a moment ago, Clark with that baseline jumper. He's a right-hander. 2 dribbles with the left hand for most right-handers usually results in a pull-up like that for Clark. If they're using their strong dominant hand, they'll usually take it all the way to the basket.
Agihi's free throw just can't be any harder.
Nice pass. Gather the defense, kick it out to your teammate. Clark is just a little bit short. And has some trouble with his shot, especially the arc tonight.
Into Pugh. He runs into trouble. Good double team. And the finish for Hubbard. He'll go to the line. But he'll have to wait until after this break. The youngster, Matt Hubbard, going to the line. Let's see how he got there.
Great pass. Hubbard streaking down the paint in the freshman, who's averaging 7 points per game as a freshman. Thought he was going to redshirt, and here he is making plays down the stretch.
Hubbard and the Broncos try to chip away at the Pacific lead when we come back on the W.TV. Rejoining last year, Agihi. That's a tough finish.
I mean, he's had some really good looks, and a lot of his shots are just rimming out just like that.
And Brownridge, another 3.
How about this? Got a 3-point game now.
This is one of those nights where you get a 6 or 7 point lead, and I bet you feel like you climbed Mount Everest.
Yeah. Well, this 3-2 zone is starting to give Pacific some problems.
Taylor.
As soon as I say that. Well, they were trying to pump the ball inside. You saw Agihi had missed back-to-back. And they got an open and 3-point shot. And Brownridge is going to come down the other end. That's why he's such a good player.
You can do it from long range. You can do it from the baseline.
Well, he's complete. I mean, if you have a player that can drive the basketball and be a great penetrator and score, and you have a player that also can hit 3-point shots and somewhere in the middle with those mid-range shots, you have a really good player.
Pushed by Johnson over Agihi. 5 of 6. Portland went 0 of 2, and that's kind of where the game split. That was the difference maker. Bowles gets the spare.
Getting all these free throws for Pacific is really helping them defensively too. Santa Clara is struggling in the half court, and they're forcing them to walk the ball up and play half court offense.
Santa Clara just 3 free throw attempts tonight. Another steal for Pacific. Bowles finishes.
I think the name of the game here for Pacific is just force half court possessions. Broncos have been struggling against them. I mean, think about the runs they've gone on because they picked up the pace of play. They've gone up and down, hit some shots in semi-transition or in transition, and they've had a difficult time scoring in this half-court defense.
Back to a 7-point lead. That matches the Tigers' biggest margin. Brownridge carves into that.
Brownridge is just making plays. I mean, they're basically saying, here, take the ball and save us here in the half court.
He's got 15 points. He had that stretch early on where he had 8. He's sort of scored in streaks so far tonight. Cobrain left open. Clark looking to push it.
That's where they excel, right here. That's goaltending.
That is a big-time goaltending. As Hubbard tried to finish, so Santa Clara picks up 2 right there. The Broncos trail it by 3 as Clark and company trying to come back against the Pacific Tigers. On the lob.
Well, I like that pass. And I mean, it's hard to defend. As a post defender, it's hard to guard somebody when they're in the middle of the paint. The ball's at the top of the key. If he's got a size advantage on you, all you have to do is get an elbow into him and ask for a pass over the head of the defender. That's what happened there.
And Lampkin collects the Clark miss. Yeah, I like that pass. It's a timing play. They put it up nice and high for Lampkin. Yeah, Lampkin tries to distribute. Thompson with the finish.
I tell you, Pacific is just going down inside. You don't have Cratch in the game. He has 4 fouls, and you're small as it is. Pacific came out in a matchup zone defensively and shook free. Johnson wide open for that 3-pointer.
Agihi way out of his shooting range. Cratch a tough assignment there. Taylor off the bump.
Very fortunate for Pacific. Santa Clara had 3 guys around that basketball. Deflected it out of bounds. Becomes a team offensive rebound for Pacific. Doesn't go to anybody in particular. So it looks like Santa Clara is setting up in a 2-3 zone here. So when you play teams that like to play 2-3 zone or any other kind of zone against an out-of-bounds play, you have to work on your zone offensive baseline out-of-bounds plays. It's a different attack, that's for sure. And I think Pacific does a really good job of attacking the high post. You see the 2 players go to the high post and try to break zones that way. Santa Clara goes into a man-to-man after the ball's passed inside.
Ball's a tough miss. Thompson for the putback. And he draws the foul. Broncos starting to get a little frustrated inside.
Well, they're getting beat up down there. No, they're outsized. They're having a difficult time guarding them. Pacific is really disciplined in the post about creating angles. You know, sometimes those post players, it's all about the way they create angles. Yeah, perimeter players have to get the ball inside. They have to find an angle to pass it, but post players have to get an angle to receive it. But you know, one of the best ways to play post defense, pressure the basketball. Make it difficult for the perimeter player to get the ball down inside there in the first place. It can't just be one-on-one and leaving your team out hanging to dry down inside.
Defensive communication is so important, especially when you're trying to take away that passing angle. Thompson trying to get the second, and he does. Thompson, a respectable night with 10 points. Now 2 of 4 at the line. 3 Tigers in double figures right now.
It's good ball movement there. I like the ball reversals. At some point, you have to shake free for a shot or look to attack. I'm expecting Brownridge to attack here. Now, Cal Poly didn't have to face Gonzaga in the championship either.
Yeah, well, you also look at all the play-in teams the last few years that have had deep NCAA runs. So, little game of keep away right now for the Tigers. Wallace gets grabbed by Johnson. Pugh underneath.
Got to make this.
Clark.
Now you got to pressure.
And timeout Broncos. And you saw Clark there going against the bigs of Pacific. And Clark's had a frustrating night. He's got 8 points. Going 4 of 10 from the floor, 0 of 5 from long range.
You just saw the turnovers there. Only 13 turnovers for Pacific. They had 9 at halftime. That means they've cleaned it up. Only 4 here in the second half.
Well within the margin of error. And Brownridge with the grab there, and a little frustration for Delani Robinson. Robinson might be one of the guys you want to have out there right now. He's a great ball handler for the Tigers.
Oh, yeah. He can maneuver. He can get through players. He can almost be a one-man press breaker. But Pacific really cleaned it up in the second half. Only 4 turnovers is impressive in one half. They're at 13 for the game. That's pretty good. You can live with 13 turnovers. And then they also threw the ball inside more, and they also controlled the rebounds more. That's why they win the game. They make the adjustments. They add on to that 4-point lead they had at the half.
Clark getting chased. Pugh scores over Lampkin.
The defense is so extended to the three-pointers. Pacific's expecting them to shoot threes that they're giving up 2-pointers.
57-40 earlier this year.
Here comes the trap. That's a good trap. You force a jump ball. Now you get the basketball back, and only 2 seconds went off the clock. Now you try to draw up your best play and try to get a 3-point shot. More than likely, you can get one on the ball side corner if you get some screens set the right way.
Outside Brownridge. Here's Clark. Gets a screen from Pugh. And he'll have to settle for a 2. He'll go to the line for 2.
Well, this is good because if he can make these 2 free throws, you may not need to burn a timeout. Clark is going to get 2 free throws. If he makes the first one, misses or makes, it doesn't really matter. Here's the drive here. Taking it into the inside the paint. But if he makes this, I mean, obviously it matters because they have to score. They're down 9 points. But if he can make the second free throw, that's critical because you can sub somebody in to stop the clock and not have to burn a timeout. You stop the clock, and then you can set up your press immediately. Here it comes right now. They're looking to get Healy in the game if this shot drops in.
They want to get Cratch out of there because he's got 4 fouls. They also want to get Brownridge away from the ball because he's got 4.
And more importantly, they wanted to set up this press. Now they're set up in a dead ball situation. This puts a lot of pressure on Pacific to get the ball inside.
Pacific can run the baseline after a made shot. And Clark with the wraparound there on Robinson. I mean, Robinson's a guy I'd love to have out there if I'm Ron Verlin and staff, because you look at what he's done at the free throw line this year, 82%. For a guy who comes off the bench, he's been to the free throw line more than 60 times.
Well, he's had some big games. I mean, he hit 7 three-pointers against Colorado State in the Great Alaska Shootout.
You know, prior to Saturdays when Pacific hadn't won since January 17th.
Got a foul or trap.
Robinson dribbles off about 4 seconds.
I think this game is just about in the books. Great job by Coach Verlin and company en route to San Francisco for Saturday, coming here and get their 2nd win in a row after that 7-game losing streak. That's a team that never gives up, that despite the circumstances, they keep that fight. And I tell you, having that big fella, Sammy Elaraki, that 7-footer, back in the lineup certainly makes a big difference after his knee injury.
You know, for the Tigers, they're going to stay at Fisherman's Wharf next couple nights. They get to play a little tourist. That ride up to San Francisco, which this time of night takes about an hour, is going to feel about 3 minutes long.
Everybody's happy on the bus after a road win, no question.
And lay in there for Healy. Clock stops at 4 7/10. And Pacific can dribble this one out as the Tigers make it back-to-back wins, winning here on the road at Santa Clara. Richie, your final thoughts on the game?
I think it was a very well-coached game by both teams, but I certainly believe that Santa Clara had trouble making shots early in the game. As a result, Pacific took advantage and rolled it into the second half and really exploited the weaknesses that Santa had in the interior.
So tonight's broadcast, an exclusive presentation of the West Coast Conference. And you can watch a replay of this game and many other West Coast Conference basketball games simply by going to the W.TV, powered by Campus Insiders. On behalf of our entire crew and my partner, Richie Schuler, this is George Devine saying good night from Santa Clara, where Pacific wins against an old-time rival by the final of 64-57. We hope to see you again real soon on the W.TV, your exclusive home for West Coast Conference sports, powered by Campus Insiders.